call, Brian.
I'm sorry, I missed all that.
Randy moved to approve.
Okay.
Please.
Keller,
Yes.
McCurry,
Yes.
and Cook.
Yes.
Yeah, doing something. Oh, okay.
Okay. Let's see. Visitors, none. Does Debbie want to say anything on that? Okay. 2022 goals. Keep spending within the 2022 appropriations. Sounds good. Old business. See any old business, so go on into new business, review the monthly financials. And Brian, you want to take over?
Okay, you want to put the stuff up there or you want me to?
It's up to you. Whatever.
Well, the first document that we have is the reconciliation. Reconciliation, and last month we ended up with a bank and book balance of $2,452,504.35. Total receipts of $347,021, and road checks totaling $224,796. Let's see. Deposits transits was close to $6,450. Outstanding checks of $11,340. And the explanation for the other adjustment of $203 is credit card receipts, which I figured out how to finally, after 3 months, how to do that. There's a report out there. I can check them off. Plus, I can export it into a Excel spreadsheet so I can figure out which ones have cleared as to when they cleared the bank versus the ones they didn't. So it's a lot easier now. I just have to refresh my memory every month.
But don't you, the following day, you shows on your bank statement all your credit card receipts.
Yeah. Yes. Let me see if I can find.
You don't have to bring them up, but I understand because I use credit
Okay.
cards up.
Okay, well, I can bring it. I can tell you what I can do. I
I
can
know.
share this document right here because I got it right. Let's see if I find it. I'll show you what I'm talking about as soon as I. Let's see. What is it called? Credit card. There it is. Municipal transaction. I'll put it up on the screen here.
Or you made it especially.
Well, I can export a report from Municipay into an Excel spreadsheet. Like, for instance, Missy gives me, when she gets notified, she prints off a report and then gives it to me, and I record the transactions. But the credit card company itself, you see right there, these are the numbers that cleared the bank. Like that $299.58
Mhm.
cleared on 3/31. This $614.23 cleared on April 1st. And of course, this one down here, collect on the following Monday.
Yeah.
But as you can see, the yellow ones, those were a receipt that Missy gave me. And as you can see, there was 2 transactions that cleared on the 31st versus 3 transactions clearing on the 1st. So those 3 are considered outstanding. The other highlight there are cleared on the 1st and the 4th. So I have a little spreadsheet. So out of that $516.91, $200.99 cleared on 3/31. The rest of it is considered outstanding. And of course, 31st is outstanding. Outstanding is 1557, which is one of the outstanding receipts, at least 4. It's on the outstanding transaction.
Okay.
there.
So if I pay my water bill online,
Right.
I plug it in, then Missy has to take it and run back on my number to the credit card company.
No, if you do it online, the
It
credit
goes right-
card company does that.
Oh.
Missy gets notified, and when she does that, she posts that to in the Muni
Okay,
link,
so she gets from
and then she
Evian, is that
generates.
who we go with?
sorry.
That's when we set up the first years ago, we ever changed tonight.
Yeah.
This is a new credit card
Yeah.
company on top of the one we have. We run both of them
Oh,
because people still call in, pay over the phone. And the machine that Municipay provided us does not allow you to swipe a card or anything, or punch number. That's just a machine. You can swipe a card, but not punch numbers.
okay,
So we utilize both.
okay. Okay. Thank you.
Let's see, like I said, there are outstanding checks of 11,340. And then on the page 4 there, the outstanding receipts, there's 2 of those credit card transactions I mentioned, plus the one from the normal credit card machine. And if you're asking why there's a name Welch on there, that particular day, Missy took in a shelter house rent with a credit card. And if I don't put in parentheses her last name when they use it, because we give them $50 deposit, it's very hard to find that transaction. So I put their names in. That way, when I get the receipt to reimburse Welch $50, I just type in Welch and there it is. That's how I do it. And then the next 4 pages is the check register for the month. Like I said, $224,796.37. I don't. Any questions on the vendors? Any questions on anything? Because I don't see anything out of the ordinary this month. Okay. Here we go.
Another than the electric bill was high.
That's actually been the lowest of the
That's
year.
It might be the lowest it's been, but it still doesn't mean it's not high.
Which office signs?
That's one of the vendors Joey utilizes to buy chlorine and other chemicals.
I don't have any.
Go to the finance report. The metrics. Okay, interest for Star Ohio jumped up to $121.40 last. That was a 50% increase. Or actually, it'd be 150%, right? It went from 61 to 121. So hopefully that's on the upswing. Rita distributions, 60, last month was $65,847. I look for this month, probably the next couple of months, I'm hoping.
Yeah, everybody does their taxes.
Yeah, gotta do their taxes, and those will increase. Appropriation status, 25% is the threshold benchmark, and as you can see, all the major funds are under. Revenue status.
Oh, you got the names on there.
I figured out how to
I
put
like
names
that.
on them.
And even change the colors to make it look like.
Well, that was default.
Yourself.
Yeah, we got our first property tax check last month, and as you can see, we've already collected 58% of that already. Like I said, we're about 4% below income tax in relation to what's going into the general fund. Local government's okay. And of course, we also received our first check for the rollback and homestead monies, and that's at 50% too. Contracts for police is slightly down, but that'll change when I start invoicing the school again. Because it's been 3 months, so it's time to invoice the school again. And of course, cable franchise fee, we only get that every 3 months, so we won't be due for that for another 2 months, I believe. And everything else, all the other revenues together are exceeding 25%, so. And then the next one is, there's the appropriations report. Street lighting is in the general fund, still running high. So that's mainly street lights. I'm hoping that'll come down as the days get longer. Won't run as much. At least that's the hope.
I mean, we know it's certainly not an expense incurred where they fixed the light pole in front of my house, but you know. The wires were holding it up, you know, they seem to have straightened it up, but I think the wires are still holding it up.
And everyone is below 25%, including your all funds, so. So far, so good.
Are there any that are making you nervous, even though they're under 25?
Hmm?
I said, are there any that are nervous knowing that you're nervous about knowing what's coming up?
Any of the funds.
Any of the funds. We're under 25, which is good, but
No,
you know, it is
not right now.
anything nervous where you say, ooh, next month I should be at 33%, we're gonna hit 50% on this fund or something like that.
Well, the street fund may, but I doubt it. But the street fund could have that possibility.
But those would be the pre-planned
But
projects.
those are the pre-planned projects.
Okay.
The only thing right now I'm keeping an eye on is electricity out of the wastewater plant and I guess street lighting. And the wastewater plant, like it was over in excess of 12,000. Yes, that number is the lowest we've had for the year, the lowest. But when I took the first one and multiplied it by 12, I was already about 10,000 shy.
I've got a research project for you. How do we harness the power from the lightning that hits the storage tank to turn it into power the wastewater plant?
Put a
Since
lightning
this-
rod out there.
Since the storage tank seems to get hit fairly frequently these days. It's electricity.
Um,
I hear you.
I would say
Yeah, maybe we all put some solar panels up there.
Other than putting a lightning rod and capturing that, I don't know.
Can we do that? I don't know. I mean, lightning rods, I always thought just keep it from hitting you.
Yeah.
Put it in
it's
the
a
ground.
flash in time.
Yeah,
I don't think they can actually power, but
Mm,
if they could.
Chuck said that would be solar panels.
Well, we've got open space.
We had an engineering study on solar panels at one time, and they said it just, the cost to put in what we needed, we just couldn't do it. Now I see though, they're popping up all over, so I don't know whether there's more government money out there or what, but
I mean, you can get paid to put them on your house.
basically,
We got open room out there,
we do.
right?
But they did that engineering study, that's only been,
It's been about 4 years.
hasn't been four, has it? When
Yeah.
Robert did it? Do you
What?
really think it was four?
You're talking about the one from,
The one that Robert had, he paid for it,
oh, that one?
yeah.
Oh, no, I was
That's
thinking the
way
one
much
before
years
that.
ago.
But with costs coming down, I get calls once a week. One of these days I might take them up on it. We put solar power on your house. And they're popping up. I mean, the guy just down here just had some.
Oh, I know, they require some permit.
So I mean, it's cheaper. I mean, it might be an upfront cost, but if our ROI on solar panels just to offset some of the electricity, with the wastewater plant. Yeah,
Yeah,
he actually makes money now.
I can have another engineering study done, but it'll cost us money. The last one Robert paid for. I know my husband, in Gambier, is in the process of trying to do that, and he's having a hard time justifying for their wastewater treatment plant. I can look at, piggyback on what he's already got done, maybe have that company look at us. We're about the same size,
2 for 1.
2 for 1.
Yeah.
I'll make myself.
Okay, well, that's all I have on my reports. Unless there's any other questions.
Anybody have any questions?
No.
I need a motion. Then I need a motion to approve the financial report.
Commission approves the reports.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on the motion? Roll call, Brian.
Okay,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Keller,
Yes. So, ordinance 2022-10. Terry, you want to talk on that, or
Well,
I think
don't-
everybody had a chance to read it. and-
Right,
well, this is actually a resolution, Chuck. The county reached out to us. We already passed an ordinance to do to participate in the
Yeah.
opioid thing. But evidently there's some regional thing or something, and we're part of this region, and they want us to pass a resolution.
Is that what it is to be in the region? Yeah, I know we talked.
Region 18.
Yeah, 18, yeah, I've seen that in the map and everything.
And they want us to pass this technically tonight, so we can get it to them, because it's gotta be turned in by the 22nd.
And they've already started meeting, I think, to discuss it. Because I know, I think Don Keller's on it. I know Shar Fisher from Amanda's on it. To discuss it, so
Don Keller.
township.
Well, if they're not getting,
Township trustee.
Hold on, let me,
Yeah, I
while we're
looked, I
talking about it, let
read,
me see if I can find my email about it, because I know I got an email.
I read that, and there's one would be from each county, and county in soon 18. Is that who Don is in? See on?
But if they didn't do it, I don't know why you'd be on. Don't quote me on that. I might be
I don't
totally
know how the
wrong.
selections happen and happen so quickly.
Yeah, I'm gonna say,
They
man.
did.
And there was like 3 committees, that this committee and this
Mhm.
committee and this foundation and. gee, I hope they don't get paid because all the money be gone.
So we need a sponsor for this one,
Okay,
and then.
Oh, okay, so, yeah, so here. It's the One Ohio, which is the opioid, or Region 18. The people have already been chosen for our regional representatives. I was wrong, Don's not on it. I'm just volunteering him for things. It's Jeff Fix, Shar Fisher from Amanda, Stephanie Hall, who's the law director in Lancaster, Darren Mead, who's the solicitor in Sugar Grove, and Darren Monholland from Violet Township.
so you got 2 people from Pickerington and a couple people from Langston, and 1 person outside of go for it. I'll go
Sugar
city.
Grove.
Sugar Grove, I mean, yeah.
Darren doesn't live down there, he's just their village attorney.
Oh, so the one we saw Langston Pickerington residents in. Okay, I'll sponsor it. I'll sponsor that, just to be into that. What is it, 18 zone or division, whatever it
Region
is,
18, yeah.
region. Okay,
And And then I'll have to pass as an emergency.
Okay. Well, at least we talked about committee. Get it in.
We talked about this a couple months back with Jeff. It was about it.
So, yeah, so, all right, so I'll just read you the email and explain. Because there's so many different. It's a giant nationwide
Mhm,
federal
mhm.
lawsuit, so yeah. Legislation, perfect. So. One Ohio was created as a result of the settlement between the state of Ohio and various members of the pharmaceutical industry in response to the opiate epidemic and the impact on Ohio. The settlement resulted in an MOU that details how funds from the settlement will be distributed. A significant portion of the settlement funds will be distributed by a state board. That board will be made up in large part by representatives of each of the 19 regions created by the MOU. Our county government and I'm quoting it, our county government, your local government are part of Region 18. Earlier this year, all local government entities in Fairfield County were invited to a meeting in Lancaster to form our Fairfield County representation to the 7-county Region 18 board. Those chosen were the names I just gave. On March 10, the representatives from 7 counties in Region 18 got together to discuss the formation of the regional board. One of the takeaways from that meeting is that each local government in Region 18 will need to sign off on the representation listed above, hence our resolution tonight. Today, they were emailing out to attach the review documents and pass the appropriate legislation, and then send it to the county office by April 22nd. So we've got a settlement that created an MOU that created regions in the state. That's creating a board, and from that board, another board will be created, and then from that board, I'm sure an executive committee will be created to figure out how to.
Yeah, there is an executive person, the secretary gets paid, I imagine.
So,
Yeah. Like the tobacco
yeah,
lawsuit.
pretty much.
Okay. That it, Mayor.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll go on to CDBG. That's the water line, Monroe Street water line proposal, resolution 2022-11.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Keller. This is, we have a project grant ready to submit. It's due April 15th. We had been looking at improvements in the wastewater area and could not find any of those that would be a good fit for the CDBG grant. So because we had this water line of needs on Monroe Street, we decided to submit that. So I'm looking for council tonight to, again, pass as an emergency so I can submit this grant to James by the 15th. It may be modified, the amount. This is how much of the total project is that 243,000. James is thinking that's too high, so we may have to modify it. And right now, V3 is working on a modification, which would be less than. So I had Jeff word this, so construction cost is not to exceed the 234,000. And again, it's a grant. And I think we have a good project. We just need to get it submitted. And I ask someone to sponsor this and then pass it as an emergency tonight.
Okay, I'll sponsor. Okay, Wayne's going to be responsible for resolution number 2022-11. Okay, also on, you got anything else, Terry, on that?
No, I don't.
Okay. Also on new business, now we have ordinance 2022-12. And Brian, you want to explain this appropriation a little bit, change?
Well, basically what we're doing here is we were awarded a grant through the Fairfield County Foundation. And basically, we need to order some things now to start this project, but I didn't quite, at the beginning, I didn't quite understand how this was going to work. If we were going to, spend the money and get reimbursed for this, or whether or not I just take the invoices and give it to them. I believe it's the way we spend it, and they reimburse us. Is that correct? So Terry presented me with a couple POs today when I was like scratching my head on how to pay for this with the current budget. I was thinking in my head, okay, get this ordinance and have it 3 readings and then, but we need to order the stuff now so we can have it by pool. So basically, it's not an increase in appropriations, it's an increasing in the overall budget itself. We're increasing the revenues in the swimming pool fund. I researched, my research consulting with my former colleagues at the state auditor's office. I can't call it an intergovernmental revenue source because it's not really, the Fairfield County Foundation is not really a government. So we have to treat this like a donation. So I asked Jeff to prepare legislation to increase revenues by 82,000 and increase appropriations by 82,000. So it's a wash. And it won't affect any of the current existing budget of the pool fund. This is just so we can account for the grant portion that we're going to get from the foundation.
Yeah, and we talk, and Terry knows that we talked about this in the Park and Recreation meeting every week. And was this one from Sands or Landis?
It's a combination.
Combination of both of them?
Yeah, yeah. So it's a combination of the Be More Fund, the Sands Foundation, and the Fairfield County Foundation. So there's like 3 separate entities that are giving this money right now.
And you want this passed tonight too?
Yes.
So Brian can
Okay, over the equipment up there.
just need a sponsor.
I'll sponsor this one.
Okay, good. Randy's gonna get the ordinance is an ordinance 2022-12. It's at the council and Randy will be the sponsor. Okay, I don't have anything else that's on the agenda. Terry or the mayor or Brian got anything or any?
It's the early part of the year, so we have money.
That's hard. We have money.
Meetings don't go long until we get to the summer and we start spending it all.
Yeah, we don't. Nobody has anything. Debbie, you have anything?
I do not have anything.
Okay, the meeting will be adjourned at 6:30.
Coming in. Hey, we can go straight to rules.
You're that far along yet?
We just-
Oh, it literally got closed. If you need a minute, take a minute.
You said Darla's not gonna be here tonight?
Darla's not-
Well, then she can't. Sign minutes in.
Brian, where is the legislation that Jeff did for the annexation?
Oh,
You need to bring that up in this.
yeah, it's right here. Is that the urban?
Are you printing it?
I can.
Print it and I'll get copies.
My copy you want. That's the memorandum. It's not really legislation. It's a memorandum.
It's got draft legislation on it.
Oh, I haven't looked at it. So, okay. How many copies?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Wait a minute, what? Did I change printers? Oh, God. Oops. Oh, no.
Are you dead?
I'm good. I hear
I'm
it.
fully charged. I just had it on at home. Fully charged.
Yeah, hold it down for like 20 seconds and it'll restart it or something
Oh,
like
great.
that.
I'll probably update them.
Yeah, it was probably in the middle of an update when you closed it. When you see the little Windows thing come back, you can always do this. Mine did that to me court the other day.
100% battery for the check if I didn't bring my cord with me.
Do you need a cord?
Yes. Yeah, let me try.
Right here.
Mine's full charge. So.
Mr. Will put power strips under,
Yeah, Terry told me I just have to find them.
I think it's on
It's
that,
where
it's
W is.
it's every other table, so it's that table, this table,
Oh,
this table. I think is where they go.
What you're looking at now is what Mr. Foreman requested at the Rules Committee when we were talking about annexation for those properties that have a lot of land. If they can hunt, so this is what Jeff prepared. For review. It was just supposed to be for a review, not to pass the legislation.
Yeah, we're still recording. We haven't officially started the meeting yet.
Would it be easier if I got a couple of power strips and plug them in before the meetings?
Now I think.
I'm fully charged.
He was doing an update.
I don't know what I was doing. I'm fine. I usually check it before I come, but it just wouldn't start for some reason. Okay, we're gonna start rules.
Darla said you were running it.
We'll see. So I call this Rules Committee meeting to order.
6.
Roll call.
Reedy, who's absent, Schaffner, Foreman,
Present. Okay, first we need, do we have enough people to pass the minutes?
Yeah.
2 people can pass the minutes? Can I get a motion on the minutes?
Yes, I move to approve the minutes from March 14th as written.
Foreman seconds.
okay, Foreman,
Yes.
Schaffner.
Yes.
Okay, can I get a motion on the agenda?
That's not required.
Okay, so first on the agenda, rules of council. I think there's a document out there for where we're at right now on that.
Yeah. I went over this in detail and it looks pretty perfect to me. I think it encompassed everything that we just discussed. Is there more to rules council, or is this a video of the whole thing?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Would you like more?
No, I remember somebody saying we were doing, or talking about it in the sections, and I guess I overachieved. on it.
So where do we go with it from there? Do we make a motion to send it to council for approval?
Schaffner moves that we send the amended rules, section 220.02. Council for approval.
4 seconds. Foreman? Yes.
So what we'll do is Jeff will then create an ordinance to incorporate all of that, and then it'll be up on the next agenda for, unless anything in there needs to be an emergency, it'll go on for 3 readings.
And this could be removed from the goals then.
Okay,
Right.
employee evaluation.
Strike it.
Do we have anything on that tonight?
Yes. No. I went in under new business. It's not evaluation. It is on the employee manual though, so.
So we have nothing in goals for that. In goals, do we have anything for cemetery projects?
We are still working on that. We are doing a study now on the fees. We want to kind of incorporate that when we bring the whole project to you. So we're going on and researching all the surrounding cemeteries on their fees for residential and non-residential burials. So we're working on that. So project in progress.
Okay, annexation process. Are we making any changes on that? Is there anything before rules tonight?
The only thing before rules is the memorandum that you have. When we thought we were done with the annexation process, and then we talked about allowing those who that were annexing into the village to be able to hunt. So you requested that we ask Jeff for a memorandum and maybe some what legislation would look like. And so before you was a copy of what he presented.
But I think on the goals for the process, for the goals, wasn't that the,
Annexation process, I don't think that
The
had
rules
anything
we're
to do with
gonna
the
do.
hunting.
yeah, well, it didn't have to do with the hunting, it had to do with the,
We're all done with that.
we're done with, because we've already done the ordinance where they
Right,
pay.
but when I
for
said
the
we were
cost.
done with it before, that's when this came up. That's why this came out. So
Okay.
I apologize. I misunderstood.
Okay.
So I didn't close that out, but really we should close out.
Annexation process
Annexation and
because
rules
it's
of-
done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Then I believe moving on to old business annexes with requests for hunting, which I think everybody has a draft copy in front of them. We gave everybody a little time to read that before the meeting. Does anybody have any additions, subtractions, changes, anything we need to look at on that? Is anybody satisfied with as it's written?
I do have a question regarding what are the programs available to property owners or extended family members, friends, et cetera. The property that we have discussed as far as how this came up, have they expressed wishes on that issue?
I believe in my conversation with them, it wasn't a first, like a daughter, son, mother, father, it might have been a friend of a son or something like that that uses it. So that was my understanding of the conversation we had. My most recent conversation is, I'm not sure this is going to make any difference.
But I think this is good to
It's good going
discuss.
forward, because if we get a 50-acre parcel, it has a little patch of woods on it that wants to annex,
Right.
we've already covered this.
This is the second
So
time
I'm
it's come
not,
up.
yeah, I'm not saying we should
So-
move forward with this.
Right.
I'm just saying, but just as a side note, I don't know that analyzing their needs or their wants is necessarily
Correct.
germane to this topic.
Correct.
But I agree, it's good to go forward, because
Mhm.
as I was thinking about this, I was thinking my mom up in Pataskala when they annexed her farm and stepdad's farm into the city of Pataskala. We still deer hunt back there.
Right.
Shoot at the shoot at the coyotes when they go after the cows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even though it's in the city.
Yeah, even though we're annexing, we may be annexing pretty rural property.
Yeah.
And we should allow for this now so that people aren't as reluctant to go ahead and sign up for it.
Exactly.
Because a lot of them have this imagination that if they annex, the taxes are gonna go up and all these things are gonna change and they're gonna have all these rules. And in reality, that isn't the case. So we just need to clarify that. So I think.
They still
moving
get
forward-
CAUV even if they're in a village.
So aside from that, does anybody else have any changes to this proposal?
If nothing else, if you've seen Jeff's questions that he asked, like, should the 5-acre provision be amended to a different acreage amount? So the ordinance that he's run up, he has 5 acres. Do we want to stick with that? Do we want more? Do we want less? So that's one of his questions.
I would think less than 5 will really start to skirt some of the gun laws anyway.
Yeah,
So I think 5 is a pretty good number. I would consider that a little on the small side. So erring on the small side is not. a big
yeah, because
deal.
if you do depending on how your 5-acre parcel, you may be within so many hundred feet of a dwelling
Yeah,
structure.
yeah. My 8 acres was not ever going to be hunted.
So,
I also don't know what it costs. I'm thinking,
Right, so then the item number 4 also is, there is a release hold harmless provision that's included in the draft regulations. And he is just saying this can be deleted if Rules Committee does not see a need for our desire for the same. So that's one thing you need to know.
So the hold harmless is that they're agreeing to hold the village harmless if there's an accident. That would seem to be a logical request.
yeah.
So you're good with that?
Yes.
Stay in?
Yes.
Yes.
Does the village desire to consider an additional program like the deer and the geese programs where? Okay, number 5. This program is specific to annexed properties only and is not meant to address the issue of the hunting of overpopulated deer or other wildlife common in larger municipalities. Many of them have adopted urban hunting programs due to the overpopulation of certain species. If the village desires to consider such additional programs, such a program should be adopted by separate legislation.
Yeah, which means we're not gonna
We agree.
address that here.
Right.
Right, sorry.
Let's face it, they'll just send their runners on deer season to the fence line and run a course where they can shoot anyway.
Oh, mine, okay.
And then 6 is, pretty obvious that you have to comply with all hunting laws and regulations, which would always be the case anyway. We're not really in an authority place where we can override state law.
Right.
Property owners shall voluntarily cooperate with village and annexation of their property in the village annexation process shall include elements of approval of annexation petition, date, documents and attendance and annexation hearing before the Fairfield County Commissioners if applicable. I mean, if this topic's coming up, they're already working with us, so the topic isn't even a topic if they're not already working with us.
Right.
Property owners shall execute and release hold harmless, so that's, we already covered that. So anything else? Anybody got any other questions?
Not yet, but it'll go through 3 readings and I'm
Right.
sure we'll all sit here and, I know I'll sit here and say, okay, now, if I were to apply this to the farm, how does that work? And we'll all do it to a parcel around here, they go to come in.
So do we need a motion from this committee to ask Jeff to go ahead and prepare the legislation, please?
Yeah,
To have Jeff prepare the legislation.
Foreman seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let it be known it's passed 2-0.
Okay, move on to next meeting. Next thing on the agenda.
What do we got? Oh, yeah, it's ordinance 22. because that takes care of old business, new business is.
Oh,
old
I have
business.
one new business item, please.
Oh, okay.
This has to do with the employee manual.
Oh,
That it was one of the things that we tried to accomplish last year. And this year we put it in as the employee evaluation form, that portion of the manual, but what I'm going to discuss now is a part of the employee manual. A part of the employee manual talks about all employees except those that are exempt should punch a time clock and fill out a time sheet. Well, this is the issue where we're at right now, current status. We are down to one time clock. They keep falling apart. Marcia ordered these. They are archaic at best. One, you're either too early or you're too late for work. Our employees fill out a spreadsheet that accounts for their hours in the portion of the village that they're operating, whether it's water or streets, our pool or parks. And this helps Brian allocate then their hours to the correct line item fund. My proposal is that we just use electronically, which I received from them. They send me then these spreadsheets. Like today, I received all the spreadsheets. I review them, I approve them, and then I send them to Brian. So I would like that to be the process going forward with the elimination of the paper time cards and stuff.
So I want to make sure I understand. So
Okay. Can you pull up one of these?
so instead of someone going in and clocking in, and then at the end of the day saying, okay, this is how I allocated my time on a spreadsheet, there will be no more clock in, clock out.
Correct.
Just.
Just
fill out your
8
spreadsheet.
AM pool, 10 AM water, 1 PM sewer plant.
They do it
That'll be
by
on the spreadsheet.
hours.
So it'll be what time they started on this to what time they moved
No.
to something
No.
else.
The
Right
spreadsheet is
there.
by hours. Here we go. So this is what we have.
this is for Tim Little, by the way.
There you go. So that's a good one. So this is how we allocate. So I know where he's at. So for 8 hours on Monday, he'll split it between water and wastewater. But on Tuesday, he had 2 hours in street and only an hour at water. This is where it's really important because then Brian has allocated all of the funds for to pay the employees. And this is how we do that out.
But we're not gonna
This
keep
doesn't-
track of when they came to
I was
work.
gonna
and
say,
when
this
they left.
doesn't tell me when he came in and when he left.
Yeah, I
No,
think,
that is true.
I think somewhere we need to amend
We need to
this.
have that, especially because 5 years ago, didn't we have an employee that wasn't clocking in and had someone else filling out his time card? Or was punching it for him?
Maybe that was prior to me. I know when I first came in, DJ was having trouble with his time clock, which hasn't worked since then. Nobody. can-
Maybe that's. what
So
I'm
are you
thinking.
saying instead of having the total of the hours, we want the time they started?
Well, I think
time
we
they
need-
moved?
this is important for Brian,
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
but I think for record keeping, both for village and for the employee
Mhm.
side, we need to know what time they're here and what time they're done as well.
So would you like me to investigate if there's something online we could use
Yeah,
instead
there's
of going back?
software for that.
That's
There's
what I
lots
would
of software
say.
for that. And that'll make
There's Chronos, there's.
turning in your payroll so much easier because it's just boom, it's gone. And it's totally separate from what we're looking at here. This is an unrelated spreadsheet. It's not unrelated, but
Okay. Well, we'll put that on action item for next rules committee, and then I'll see what I can find electronically.
yeah, we need a digital time clock that's on
Yeah.
their laptops.
Perfect.
There's so many things these days, thumbs and punching a code, swipe a badge.
I think it could even be geo-coded as well, like it'll tell you where they were when they said they're here.
On smartphones.
Most of them are geo-coded. yeah.
All right, I'll do some more research on that and see what I come up with the next rules committee. I'll present options.
Their phones are our phones, aren't they?
That is correct.
So they could use the phone and clock in and clock out.
That is
They'd be
correct.
geolocated.
That is correct. Everybody has a phone and that ability except for Missy and Brian, who are getting phones. But Brian was waiting until the whole
Yeah.
thing settled because we were having issues with the phone company. So Brian will be ordering him and Missy a phone because Missy uses her phone to text the guys out in the field and to call them. So, yeah. So to answer your question, yes,
Okay.
our phones, those phones were our phones.
Yeah, we can't expect them to use a personal phone for
No.
our digital time.
No. That's all I have, Mr. Foreman.
Okay, then the next meeting will be held on the second Monday of May. That would be May the.
Oh, well.
May
yeah,
9th.
It's,
It says
yeah,
April 9th.
yeah,
Yeah,
well,
but it is-
Okay.
it's May 9th. It is
The
May
date
9th.
is
It is
right,
May
the month
9th.
is wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm reading April 9th, and I know that's wrong. And it'll actually be immediately after finance meeting, the committee meeting is over. So do I have a motion to adjourn? Okay. 4 seconds. Now we got 40 minutes.
All in
Sorry.
favor?
You ran that rather quick.
Sorry.
all in favor?
Oh, aye.
Okay. So we'll pause the recording.
Please.
Will I do?